You looked in the mirror lately and didn't recognize who was looking back? My people, the Navajo, have a saying: a river never apologizes for how far it has traveled. Today I'm sharing 12 truths that elders whispered to me, Tao, about your body, your time, your losses, and why, no matter your age, you are not finished. Not even close.
There comes a moment in life when you look in the mirror and the face looking back surprises you, not because it is ugly, but because it is older than you feel inside. And that distance between how you look and how you feel can be one of the loneliest gaps a person ever experiences. Nobody warned you about this. Nobody sat you down when you were young and said, one day your body will move slower than your heart. One day, the years will pile up faster than you can count them. One day you will look at old photographs and barely recognize the person in them. And yet that person is still you. Every version of you that ever existed is still somewhere inside you right now. The child who was afraid of the dark. The young person full of plans that did not all come true. The adult who kept going even when keeping going felt impossible. All of that is still here. And the person you are now, older, quieter, carrying more than anyone can see, that person deserves to be understood. Not pitied, not rushed, not told to simply accept things without being given the words to make peace with them. I have spent many years sitting beside people who were further along in life than I was, listening to what they carried, what kept them awake at night, what they wished someone had told them sooner. And over time, certain truths appeared again and again, not theories, not advice from books, just honest observations from people who had lived long enough to see clearly. I want to share 12 of those truths with you today, not because I have all the answers, but because some of these words might land in a place inside you that has been waiting for them for a long time. Before we continue, make sure you have already
Look at how the
subscribed
light
to the
touches
channel.
the earth.
And tell me in the comments,
This is a
what
sacred
country
moment,
are you watching
a
from
reminder
today?
that we
I
are
like to see
all
how many
connected to
different
this
people have
land.
gathered here to share in these reflections. The first truth is about the body. You wake up one morning and something is different. The joints take longer to warm up. The mirror shows lines that were not there before. The energy that used to arrive automatically now needs to be coaxed. And something inside you resists, because the body changing feels like a loss, like something being quietly taken from you before you were ready to let it go. But sit with this for a moment. That body of yours has been working without a single day off since the moment you were born. It carried you through childhood, through the physical demands of young adulthood, through pregnancies, illnesses, injuries, and exhaustions that would have broken something less resilient. It got you here, to this day, to this moment. A body that is aging is not a body that has failed you. It is a body that has been more loyal to you than most people ever will be. To look at your reflection with shame or impatience is to turn your back on one of the most faithful companions
We must
you have
listen
ever
not
had.
just with our
The
ears,
wrinkles
but
are
with
not
our
damage.
hearts.
They are a
The land
record.
has much to
Every
teach
one of
us
them
if we
marks
are
something
still
you lived
enough to
through,
hear it.
something you survived,
Look at you.
something that
Still
required
beautiful
everything
after
you
all
had.
these years.
And yet, here, you still are.
I wouldn't trade
Your
our
value
time
as a
together for
person was never
anything.
stored in
Look
your
at the
youth.
colors
It
the
was never
Creator
held
has
in your
painted
speed
for
or
us
your
tonight.
strength or the smoothness of your
Everything
skin.
has a
It
purpose,
lives in something much
even the
harder to
smallest
measure
stone.
and much harder to diminish. Treat the body with the same gentleness you would offer a dear old friend. It has earned that. The second truth is about time. When you were young, time felt like something you had in abundance. The summer holidays seemed to last forever. The years between birthdays felt long. The future was a wide open space with room for everything. Now the years seem to slip by before you have had the chance to fully inhabit them. You blink and a decade has passed. You turn around and the children are grown. You look at the calendar and wonder how it is already the end of the year again. This acceleration is not your imagination, and it is not something to be frightened by. It is one of the ways life teaches us to pay attention. When you were young, you could afford to let days pass without noticing them. There were so many ahead. But the years moving faster, is life asking you to be more present in each one, not to grieve the ones that have already gone, but to inhabit the ones that remain more fully than you ever have before. The most precious days of your life are not the ones that were the busiest. They are the ones where you were truly present, where you tasted your food, where you looked someone you love in the eyes and really saw them, where you sat still long enough to feel grateful for the simple fact that you were alive. Time does not slow down, but attention can make it feel fuller, and a full hour is worth more than an empty year. The third truth is about friendships. There is a particular kind of sadness that comes when a friendship fades without explanation. No argument, no clear ending, just a gradual distance that one day you realize has become permanent. Phone calls that stopped being returned,
Mesa has seen many
invitations
changes,
that stopped
but the
coming,
spirit
a name
remains
in
the
your
same.
contact list that now
We are
feels like
merely
it belongs to
passing
a
through.
stranger.
That is a profound
This happens
thought.
more often as the years pass, and it can make you question yourself in ways that are not fair. You wonder what you did wrong. You replay conversations looking for the moment things shifted. You feel in some quiet corner of your chest that you were not worth the effort of staying close to. But here is what I
That's
have
a
come to
shame,
understand. Not every friendship was built to last a lifetime. Some
right,
people are
well,
companions
thank
for a
you for letting
particular
me know.
season. They walk beside you through a specific chapter, and when that chapter ends, their path and yours naturally diverge. This is not a failure
We gather
on your
here,
part.
just
It
as
is
our
not a verdict
ancestors
on your
did,
worth. It
to
is
share
simply the honest
stories and
nature of
remember
human
that we are
connection.
all
People
connected to this
change,
sacred ground.
circumstances change. What you needed from each other in one season of life may no longer be what either of you needs now. Grieve the friendships that faded. You are allowed to miss them, but do not let their ending make you believe you are not worthy of being loved. Hold tightly to the ones who have stayed, the friends who have seen you in your worst moments and remained, the ones who do not need to see you every week to know you are still close. Those friendships are rare. They are worth more than any number of acquaintances. The fourth truth is about family. Family changes with the years in ways nobody prepares you for. The house that was once full of voices becomes quiet. The children who needed you for everything gradually need you for less and less. And what was once the center of your daily life begins to shift to the edges. This transition can feel like a kind of grief, a mourning for the version of family life that has passed, for the noise, the chaos, the feeling of being needed in a way that was exhausting and beautiful at the same time. But here is what that silence can become if you allow it. An invitation to discover who you are now that you are no longer defined entirely by your role, to remember interests and desires that were set aside during the busy years, to build a different kind of relationship with the people you love, not the relationship of constant caretaking and daily proximity, but something quieter and often deeper, a phone call where you actually talk, a visit where you sit together without the pressure of a full schedule, a moment where your child looks at you not as a parent who provides, but as a person who has lived and learned and has something worth hearing. Family does not diminish when it changes shape. It simply asks you to love it differently. And loving differently, though it takes practice, is still loving.
These
Before
stories
moving
are
to
the
the next
bones of our
reflection,
people.
I want to share
They
something
must
with
be
you.
carried forward,
Many of the thoughts I've
not
been gathering
changed
over
by
the
the
years
wind
about
or the
aging,
weakness of
inner
men.
peace, silence, and the lessons that modern life has pushed aside were brought together in a book called The Last Teachings. It is a simple
It's hard to
conversation,
believe how much has
written the
changed,
same way
and
an elder
sometimes I
would
worry
speak to
about the
someone
future.
sitting quietly beside them. If
The
you would like to
important
go
things
deeper into
remain, my
these
friend.
reflections, you will find the link in the first comment. The fifth truth is about loneliness. Loneliness in the later years is one of the things people talk about the least and feel the most. It can come even when you are surrounded by people. It can settle into the house on a Sunday afternoon like a fog that has no clear source. It can wake you at 3 in the morning with a heaviness that words do not quite reach, and the instinct most people have is to escape it, to turn on the television, to pick up the phone, to fill the quiet with anything that stops the feeling from being felt. But the elders I have known who aged with the most peace did not run from their loneliness. They learned slowly and with difficulty to sit inside it, and what they found there surprised them. Loneliness, when you stop fighting it, becomes something closer to stillness. And inside that stillness, you begin to hear yourself again. Not the version of yourself that is performing for others. Not the self that is busy
When you
and
look to the
useful
sky,
and
you
needed.
see the breath of the Great
quieter self,
Spirit.
the one that knows
We
what
are
you
all
actually
connected
value.
to this vast
the one that
openness
remembers
and the
what
clouds
you actually
that roll
believe.
above us.
The one that has things to say that have been waiting for years to be heard. Loneliness is not proof that something is wrong with your life. Sometimes it is simply the feeling of being alone with yourself. And learning to be alone with yourself, truly comfortable in your own company, is one of the quiet achievements of a life well lived. The sixth truth is about regret. Regret has a particular weight. It is different from sadness. Sadness is about what happened. Regret is about what you chose, or what you did not choose when you had the chance. And as the years add
I
up,
see.
regret
Yes,
can become
I'm
one of the
listening now.
heaviest things a person carries.
Are you sure about
the
this?
words left unspoken, the trips never taken, the reconciliations that kept being postponed until postponing was no longer possible. The years spent working when the people who needed you were right there in the next room. I am not going to tell you that regret is useless, because sometimes it is honest. Sometimes it is the soul's way of acknowledging that something mattered, that a choice had consequences, that love deserved more than it received. That kind of regret is worth sitting with, not to punish yourself, but to let it teach you something about what you still value, what you still have time to do differently, where you can still choose more honestly. But there is another kind of regret that serves nothing, the kind that replays the same moments on a loop, demanding that the past be different from what it was, the kind that judges the person you were then with the wisdom you only found later. You made every decision you made with what you knew at the time, with the resources you had, with the understanding that was available to you in that season of your life. To hold that person in contempt is not honest, it is cruel. You were doing what you could with what you had, and in many cases you were doing more than anyone gave you credit for. Let the regret that teaches you stay, and let the regret that only wounds you begin, slowly, to loosen its hold. The seventh truth is about peace. There comes a point in life when being right
This light
stops
reminds us
feeling
that
worth
even
what
in the
it costs.
deepest shadow,
When you look at
truth
an
can be
argument and
found if you
feel
are
somewhere
willing to
deep
look.
in your chest
Our
that even if
traditions
you
are
win,
that light.
you will lose something more important. A relationship, an afternoon, your own sense of calm. This shift does not arrive as a sudden decision. It comes slowly, through years of watching what conflict actually produces, through noticing how rarely a heated exchange changes anyone's mind, through the accumulated exhaustion of defending positions that, in the long view, do not matter as much as the person standing across from you. Peace is not weakness. I want to say that clearly. Choosing not to fight is not the same as having nothing worth fighting for. It is knowing the difference between what requires your fire and what simply requires your patience. It is understanding that some battles are best won by walking away, and some relationships are best preserved by letting the argument go unfinished. The people I have known who carried the most genuine dignity in their later years were not the ones who had won the most arguments. They were the ones who had learned when to be quiet, when to listen instead of respond, when to place the relationship above the point they were making. That kind of peace is not given to you. You build it, choice by choice, over many years, and it becomes one of the most valuable things you own. The eighth truth is about purpose. Many people reach a certain age and feel the ground shift beneath them. The role that defined them for decades begins to fade. The career ends. The children no longer need daily guidance. The structure that gave the days their shape begins to dissolve. And in that open space, a question arises that can feel frightening. Who am I now? What am I here for? If I am no longer needed in the ways I was before, do I still matter? I want to answer that question as honestly as I can. Purpose does not retire. It changes its form. What once looked like building and achieving and providing may now look like something quieter. Sitting with a grandchild and answering their questions with the full attention they deserve. Calling someone who is grieving and simply being present on the other end of the line. Sharing something you know with someone who is still searching for it. Tending to your own life with care. Allowing yourself to rest without guilt. Being an example of what it looks like to age without bitterness. The world does not need you to be constantly producing to need you. It needs you to be present. It needs your steadiness, your memory, your willingness to sit with someone in their difficulty without rushing to fix it. Presence, offered generously and without condition, is one of the most powerful forms of purpose there is, and it belongs to every age. The ninth truth is about nature. Something happens to a person when they spend time outside. Not the rushed kind of outside where you move from one place to another without stopping. The slow kind, where you sit somewhere that has no agenda, where the only thing required of you is to be there. The sound of wind through trees does something to the nervous system that is difficult to explain but easy to feel. The sight of water moving over stones, the smell of earth after rain, the particular quality of light in the early morning before the day has begun demanding things of you. We were not built for the pace that modern life sets. We were built for something slower, something more connected to the rhythms of the natural world. And when you return to that connection, even briefly, something in you remembers itself. The anxiety loses some of its grip. The problems that seemed enormous begin to find their proper proportion. You remember that you are a small part of something very large, and that reminder, far from being discouraging, is one of the most quietly comforting things a person can feel. You do not need to travel anywhere remarkable to find this. A park bench, a window with morning light coming through it, a patch of garden that you tend with your own hands. Nature is patient. It will meet you wherever you are, and it will receive you always exactly as you are. The 10th truth is about silence. We have forgotten what silence is for. In most homes, in most lives, silence is something to be filled as quickly as possible. A television turned on not because there is something to watch, but because the quiet feels uncomfortable. A phone picked up not because there is something to see, but because the stillness feels like emptiness. But silence is not emptiness. Silence is where you go to find yourself again. It is the place where the questions you have been carrying without answering finally have room to surface, where the emotions you have been too busy to feel finally get to be felt, where the voice inside you that is quieter than all the other voices gets a chance to speak. I have noticed that the people who are most at peace with themselves are not the ones who have found the best distractions. They are the ones who have learned to sit in their own silence without panic, who have made a kind of friendship with the quiet, who have discovered that there is something waiting for them in stillness that cannot be found anywhere else. This is not easy at first. Silence can feel lonely when you are not used to it. It can surface things that you would rather not look at. But with practice, it becomes one of the most honest and restorative places you know how to find. Give yourself silence, not as a discipline, not as a practice you have read you should have, but as an act of genuine care for yourself. The way you would give a tired person a place to rest. You have earned the quiet. Let yourself have it. The 11th truth is about loss. By the time you have lived many decades, you know what loss feels like in your body. The particular weight of grief. The strange way ordinary moments can suddenly remind you of someone who is no longer here. The way a certain song, or a smell, or a quality of afternoon light can reach across years and bring the missing back with full force. Loss does not follow a schedule, and it does not always diminish the way people suggest it will. Sometimes it simply changes shape, becomes less sharp perhaps, but also more woven into who you are, part of the fabric of your life rather than a wound sitting on top of it. I do not believe loss is something to be overcome. I believe it is something to be carried with honesty, carried with the understanding that the weight of it is proportional to the love that came before it. You grieve deeply because you loved deeply, and that is not a weakness, that is evidence of a full and feeling life. The people you have lost are not gone from you entirely. They live in the way you learned to laugh from them, in the values they planted in you before they left, in the stories you still tell about them, in the moments when you catch yourself thinking exactly the way they used to think. Love does not end at death. It transforms. And honoring that transformation, allowing yourself to carry the ones you loved forward with you, is one of the most honest things a grieving person can do. If these words have touched something in you, you might want to know about the last teachings. In that book, I gathered some of the most important reflections I have on loneliness, relationships, inner peace, and what truly matters as the years accumulate. And as a gift, you will also receive a special teaching called The Secrets of the First Hour, about the quiet habits that many elders considered sacred for beginning each day with intention and calm. The link is waiting for you in the first comment. The 12th truth is the one that took me the longest to understand, and it is not complicated, but it is the one that changes everything when it finally settles in. You are not finished, not yet, not even close. The years behind you are not the measure of how much life you have left to live. They are simply the ground you are standing on, the foundation made from everything you have been through, every loss that taught you something, every mistake that showed you who you did not want to be, every moment of joy that proved to you that life, even with all its difficulty, is worth being present for. Getting older is not a slow disappearing. It is a slow clarifying. The unnecessary things fall away. The pretending becomes too tiring to maintain. What is left is more honest, more essentially you, and there is something in that is worth recognizing, not celebrating in a forced way, but acknowledging with the quiet respect it deserves. You have been through things that would have broken people who had not built what you have built inside yourself. You are still here, still feeling, still capable of being moved by something beautiful, still able to love and to be loved, still able to sit on a porch in the early morning and feel the day beginning and know, somewhere beneath all the noise and the worry, that this moment is enough, that you are enough, not in spite of your age, not despite what the years have taken, but because of all of it, because of every single year that made you exactly who you are right now. A river does not apologize for the distance it has traveled. It does not slow down to mourn the landscapes it has already passed through. It simply continues carrying everything it has gathered, moving towards something it cannot yet see, but moving, always moving, with a kind of quiet trust that the journey itself is the point. You are that river, and there is still so much water left to travel.